I came up with a revolutionary business strategy, so tell me if you think this would work, alright? First, I'm gonna hire a ton of employees, but I'm not gonna hire the employees that are the best at their job and the best in their field with the most experience and dedication. I'm actually gonna hire people based on their appearance, race, gender, sexual orientation, and other factors that can't be controlled, and care nothing about their actual ability in the field. And then, I'm gonna analyze the entire demographic that is shown to appreciate and consistently fund my product. I'm gonna analyze the personalities, interests, genders, and other key components of people who frequently and regularly purchase my product that I make the majority of my money from, and then see what they all have in common. Then I'm gonna take their interests and what they have in common, and instead of appealing to what the vast majority of my fans want, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what they want, and then call them hateful and bigoted when they don't purchase my product. Then boom, I'm a millionaire. That sounds like a pretty good strategy, right? Surely this is insanely useful in first world countries which are all predominantly capitalist.
How dare you?
After all, in a capitalist society, healthy competition and innovation are encouraged because consumers can choose who they give their money to. So it makes sense that a giant company that never gives anyone who appreciates them what they want, using employees that aren't the best in their field and instead that are only checking diversity checkboxes, will outperform every single one of their competitors that consistently give people what they want and only hire the best for the job. Now, surely you've recognized by now that I'm being entirely satirical and brutally sarcastic. Or am I? Let's look at a vast number of enormous franchises that are doing the exact opposite of what their fans want. Call of Duty, Halo, Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, The Last of Us, Overwatch, Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings, Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones. The list goes on. Let's ask a pressing question. How the hell are these giant franchises and corporations still succeeding and still standing? All of the franchises I just named are dominated by male fans. They always have been predominantly male, straight males at that. And yet, for some odd reason, we've witnessed these titans of pop culture and entertainment go the complete opposite direction for absolutely no apparent reason. Let's take Call of Duty, seeing as I'm a Call of Duty channel primarily. The whole idea of Call of Duty is that it's a yearly military Madden. It's a fast, action-packed, gritty first-person shooter with a darker, more mature theme that obviously appeals to an audience that has historically always been about 80% male, probably more. And according to recent studies, 77% of the males that play COD are over the age of 21. And according to those same studies, around only 6% of male players are under the age of 18. So why on God's green earth are they making cosmetics, storylines, and skins that are Rainbow, Goofy, and Nicki Minaj, where the vast majority of their audience are males over the age of 21? It makes absolutely no sense from a business perspective. It's completely illogical in a capitalist lens to not try to appeal to whoever plays the game the most. Another great example is Star Wars, everyone's favorite franchise to complain about nowadays. Even though the main characters were predominantly male, and the fan base is also predominantly male, that doesn't mean that there weren't some pretty awesome female characters that everybody, including myself, loved. Princess Leia, Ahsoka Tano, Padme Amidala, all were female characters who displayed positive traits like determination, strength, cleverness, hope, and perseverance. Not to mention their male counterparts did the exact same. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Obi-Wan, they all had these traits too. What they have in common is that no character was above another. There wasn't a clear attempt to make characters above or smarter or stronger just because. Luke becomes the most powerful and successful Jedi to ever live. However, it takes him whining, trying, failing, losing to finally get there. But then we introduce Kathleen Kennedy in the sequel trilogy.
Oh, hell no! That's hell no!
Instead of trying to appeal to the vastly male audience that normally enjoys Star Wars, they instead create a movie starring a female lead, Rey, which isn't inherently a problem. But from a business perspective, it does make the main character less relatable for a vast majority of Star Wars fans, which from a marketing perspective isn't smart. But artistically, it's fine, and I'll come back to that, because there's a paradoxical relationship between artistic license and marketability. But they also make Rey the most uninteresting, deadpan, and annoying lead in the history of the Star Wars franchise. I'd take a Jar Jar Binks standalone over any of the sequel trilogy movies. Rey has no personality, is one-dimensional, predictable, and she never fails at anything and immediately succeeds at everything she does with absolutely no error. The reason this is a problem is because this isn't just bad writing, it's deliberate writing. To make Rey, a woman, better than everyone else by default, without training, without practice, without failure, to kick off Star Wars' infamous girl boss arc. It's the same with Captain Marvel in the MCU. She's uninteresting, perfect at everything, can't fail, has no flaws, has the charisma of a rock, and is insanely powerful with no downsides. In the first movie alone, Rey is able to defeat Kylo Ren, a trained Sith psycho assassin killer well versed in the Force, because she can. She hasn't even been trained with a lightsaber, and she beats the grandson of Anakin Skywalker. And she doesn't just beat him, she kicks his ass. Nobody wanted to see this kind of thing from Star Wars, and it only got worse from there, adding boring, stuck-up, illogical female characters, and only adding male characters to make them look stupid, and to elevate the female characters for no other reason than they're a woman. Whoop-de-doo. Let's hear it for XX chromosomes. Not to mention, the sequel trilogy turns Luke Skywalker, a symbol of hope and perseverance for at least 2 generations of Star Wars lovers, into a sad, old, failed hermit that tries to kill his own nephew in his sleep, despite literally talking Darth Vader out of the dark side. And they also kill off every original trilogy character one at a time. First Han, then Luke, then Leia. The entire trilogy took a giant crap on everything Star Wars fans loved, and people will still defend it. Indiana Jones did the same. In the most recent movie, Indiana Jones is a sad retired old man who hates his past life, only to be shown up by an overpowered, flawless girl boss who makes him look dumb at every possible opportunity. Another franchise beloved by many, the majority being Gen X and millennial males, only to be absolutely destroyed by a dumb corporation who is more concerned with political statements than making a good movie and appealing to who actually likes the franchise the most. Halo is the same, Overwatch is the same, adding random LGBT characters for no reason. They turned Soldier 76 gay for no reason, despite him being the most gritty and hardened character in the entire game. Doctor Who made the Doctor female, and then they made him super zesty, despite the Doctor first always being male, and second always being obviously straight, thus breaking the rules of that universe.
Gay!
Ghostbusters made an all-female reboot despite the original cast being all-male and the fanbase being dominated by a vast majority of men. Video games, movies, and basically all kinds of media now are well aware of their fanbases, and then they actively take a dump on them and produce complete garbage that is the total opposite of everything that everyone that actually appreciates the franchise wants. And we have to acknowledge that it's not for revenue, it's for political and ideological statements. The people at the top of these franchises and corporations are being hand-picked because of their political stances and viewpoints, not because of their ability. Not to mention, DEI hiring is severely decreasing the quality of the projects being outputted because instead of ability being the priority, traits that cannot be controlled are the deciding factor when hiring. These weird people are writing their own perverted fantasies into beloved and super popular franchises rather than stuff that actually belongs there and appeals to the fan base. And there's a lot of examples here, but I'm sure some weirdo employee had a lot of fun designing the Nicki Minaj skin, writing the gay Soldier 76 fanfic, or making Rey an overpowered Mary Sue, or injecting gay romance into a kid's film like Lightyear, or randomly injecting some other woke agenda things into beloved franchises like Star Wars and Marvel. Hiring competent writers would basically eliminate these things from existence because they're not there to serve the plot or contribute to the narrative of the theme of the movie or game. It's literally there to push an agenda on unsuspecting players that somehow abnormal things are suddenly normal and everywhere. It's an epidemic that is spreading quickly. But that still raises the question, how on God's green earth are these companies still making money? How are they still titans in the industry, whether it be Microsoft, Sony, or Disney? Well, it boils down to 2 things. The fact that they already have billions, if not trillions of dollars, and that they own insanely successful franchises. Ever notice how all of the movies and games that come out nowadays are either remakes or sequels, and the content that comes from these giant corporations like Microsoft and Disney that happens to be a brand new IP completely flop? Think Ironheart, The Acolyte, Elio, Wish, Anthem, Redfall, Concord, and other new IPs. When these dumb woke corporations make new IPs and inject stupidity into them and make them lazily with people who don't have ability with ideologues at the top, they flop. But when stuff comes out that baits nostalgia, like Black Ops 6, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Thor Love and Thunder, Rings of Power, The Force Awakens, it's a huge flop in reviews and everyone hates the product. But they're big financial successes. Why? Because despite the content being complete lazy woke crap designed by people that aren't the best option for the job by a long shot, they have the power to say, oh look, your favorite franchise, come play, come watch. It's not at all like before, but all you have to do is see the title and you're going to spend money. It's the same with Black Ops 6 as well. I'm sure a vast majority of people who actually got to try the game first before buying it wouldn't have bought it. Black Ops is the bait, and the game being complete and utter trash is the switch. Thor's name is the bait, and so is Chris Hemsworth, but Thor being a bumbling, emotional idiot in Love and Thunder is the switch. Point is, nothing good is coming from corporations anymore, but the names they own are enough to bait and switch. This creates a complete paradox. Let's say that the makers of these games and movies are genuinely and honestly trying to have some artistic license and explore other options, right? It's not to appeal to the woke crowd. It's genuinely to see if they can write a good, different protagonist or spin-off story. From a corporate lens, trying to milk money out of people, this strategy is not effective. Instead of branching out, stick to what works and is shown to make money. Keep the same archetypes, humor, and charm that the successful originals had. But let's say it's not for artistic license. Let's say it's for appeal to a new demographic. That's not viable financially either, because now you're trying to pander to a crazy minority of your fans. So trying something new in a genuine artistic endeavor and pandering to a minority woke audience on a calculated business decision are both not viable strategies. So therefore, creativity and artistry and pandering to a minority are both not viable strategies. The only thing that should work is doing what was shown to work and not doing what is shown to not work. And yet, almost every major corporation in the entire Western world repeatedly is doing what doesn't work over and over again, which begs the horrifying question: who are they trying to appease? What do they gain by pushing these woke narratives, by hiring people that aren't the best at their job, and by crapping on what the majority of fans want? Why do they deliberately and repeatedly do these things when on paper and by basic logic, it should be severely harming them? It doesn't make any sense that these corporations and franchises are still standing. The only thing keeping them alive are the pre-existing money and the pre-existing legacy that they have. Art is declining, content is dying, and quality content is now few and far between because these companies have so much money that I guess it doesn't matter if their crap content flops because they have so much power and influence anyways. They are literally doing the exact opposite of what succeeds in a capitalist ecosystem, and they're still dominating both financially and in popularity. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and we have to stop giving them our money because in capitalism, the consumer chooses. But they're cheating the system because they have access to things that fool us into buying them because they used to be good before, but now they're not good anymore. But you can't access the product because it's behind a paywall, and so we're forced to buy it to try it out, and then we've already spent our money. But my advice is this: scrutinize the living daylights out of anything that comes from Disney, Microsoft, Sony, or any of the studios that are even minorly associated with them, because I bet you my allowance that any of the content that comes from these places is not going to be good anymore. I haven't seen anything that is a genuine work of art from any of these studios in over 5 years, genuinely. It's all just propaganda and slop. Think of the last time you thought a game or movie was a genuine work of art, like The Matrix, The Empire Strikes Back, The Hobbit, Black Ops 2, Thor Ragnarok, or Super Mario Odyssey. Nothing in the last 5 to 10 years even comes close to that kind of stuff. And if it does, you see it so rarely that you can barely count on one hand. It's sad, but it's the truth. I'm Prime Pete. Be careful what you consume, and take it easy.